more of a buzz out of performing on stage or racing a car? Like, is it the same, or is it like how can you compare? Do you get more of a heart rate buzz from like coming on stage and that, or is a supercar worth it basically?
Well, there's adrenaline in both.
Yeah.
And I love both so much, but like, I don't know, your life's on the line when you're racing. So like, I'd say probably racing. And because so much effort goes into the racing, there's so much reward that I get out of the racing as well.
Yeah.
Like, as I mentioned, like I love both so much, but at the end of the day, like I'd say I probably experience more adrenaline and more reward in that sense because of how much I've got to put into it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Are you using the music while you're not like performing and that and in bands at the moment? Do you go home after like everything you're doing now and use that sort of thing to just like relax and chill out? Do you still like do you still play the guitar or write music?
Yeah, so I always would do that, but to be honest, like times are just that crazy at the moment where
Yeah.
I just haven't had the time to. That was like, the whole part of me just taking a step back from the band.
Yep.
Now that it's like less of my own operation, is to focus all my time on
Yeah.
my Super 2 career. Because it was only like late last year, like in December, like the week before Christmas, I found out that I wasn't going to be racing at Eggleston anymore.
Yeah.
Which is like, a bit different to the plans that we'd made up.
Yeah.
And the thing that was tough is I'd had opportunities from like a couple like main series teams, like really good deals to race in Super 2 for them.
Yep.
And which, like obviously we just didn't end up doing because we were going to race at Eggleston. And we'd organised, like, we're not going to go into details too much, but it was a really good campaign to run. And we only found out, like, really late in the piece that this wasn't going to go ahead. And, it was, like, for them, like, understandable completely because, like, I missed out on 2 rounds last year. And they're a business, like, it's pretty hard to have uncertainty around your driver. So, like, whilst this year is looking so good for me budget-wise, for the first time ever, obviously, like, how could you trust that when, like, I've missed a couple of rounds for him?
Yeah.
So, like, we only found out pretty late, and obviously all the deals done in, like, October, November, the previous year. So, that's why it's been so hard to find a seat and why I'm just, like, full send, allocating literally every minute of my day trying to either work to make the money for it and spending any spare time obviously trying to organise deals and stuff like that.
You said you might do S5000 as a backup. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a good backup. So I did a test with Versa Motorsport back at the Bend in November last year. And that went really well. Like it was a pretty incredible experience. They're really cool cars. I've never done open wheelers because obviously I've done the tin top stuff. But it went really well, real quick. And the team, really want to have me back. So we've been chatting to them. There's we've kept all options open as to what I'm going to do. So like worst comes to worst, I think I'll probably do a few rounds of Super 2 and then, do the whole S5000 championship, which I say worst comes to worst. It's actually like a really good setup, but I really want to win the Super 2 series. And like last year we demonstrated so much pace. Like we did 4 races and we were the fastest in like practice at like 3 of those events, which was the most out of anyone that year, even though we were 2 rounds down. And like I really want to apply that, to a whole campaign, especially now, like I'll probably be one of the most experienced in the field as well. So there's a lot of new blood coming in and all the guys that were around my pace have moved up. Like, Zach Best is sort of taking a step back. Matt Payne's up, Cam Hill's up, Declan Fraser's up. So it's like, it's a real good year. There's like a lot of guys also missing out this year too, which sucks. So, who knows, maybe I'll be one of those guys. But I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I'm not, but things don't always work out. So.
Cool.
Do you feel like there's like how you said you came in from karts, then you had sort of no testing, went into supercars. So did you ever feel then, and compared to now, once you've won the Kable Award, that the expectations have changed for you, or have they gotten like? Do you feel like you're putting more on yourself, or there's more external, or how have you found that journey so far?
I wouldn't say that the award changed anything. What changed my, I guess my goals for the year when I first came in 2021 was when we just popped it on the front row and like my first outing with Eggleston, I was like, oh man, I'm going to win this thing. Like, I'm just going to win the series. Like, how good's this? Like, I'm so fast straight away. But then, by the next round, it was like a rude awakening. Like, man, you got so much development to do. So that was probably the biggest thing that like realigned my goals. Cause at the start of that, I was like, oh yeah, if I can just dip in the top 10, that's going to be good. But then we're like racing like in the top 5 straight away. And I wouldn't say that like the award really changed any of that because like we were sort of already in that top bunch. So like the goal for the following year, whether I won that award or not, was to try and win the series or get as close to it as possible. And obviously we missed out on a couple of rounds.
Does that award though equate to both supercars and Super 2? Like
it does.
How's it actually work?
Yeah, so that award gets shared between supercars, the main game, and in Super 2.
Yep.
And it's just the best like rookie between both that it's just sorry, it's not like
Is
there's
it
a
like
little bit of
it's like a driver rating system in a way?
kinda. There's like a little bit of back end system, but it's also voted by like a lot of the supercars crew in the media and Motorsport Australia, like officials, all that sort of stuff. So I think it's sort of whoever gets the most votes gets a win. So yeah, so that was cool. So that's why like it's also a special one, because it's like not just performance based. It's also like people and how they're looking into how you're going, and it's like it's quite subjective in that manner. So like if people think you should win, like I think it's quite special. So I probably enjoyed that one more than winning the Rookie of the Year, really, because that one was somewhat statistical, but more so just like people seeing things behind the scenes as well, and probably recognizing hard work as well. So it was like it was good.
How'd the relationship with Boost come about?
That's a funny one. So
because Peter Adderton is all we can say is just he's bloody vocal about motorsport.
It's great. It's another opinion which we need.
Yeah.
Pete's great, man. Like, he's good. He says whatever has to be said, which is good. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people in motorsport that just like, or any sport for that matter, a lot of industries that try and just like say what's politically correct, which is like fair. You want to do it as much as possible. Yeah. But then people aren't saying their opinions, and like you got to say your opinion. So anyways, like I rock up to my first like full season of like start with Eggleston. Yeah. And I just wearing like my Eggleston gear, but then I'm wearing like these Cuban Hill boots, like sort of stuff, like same as what I'm wearing now actually. And we rock up to the race. I'm walking around the pits in that. We do practice and like we pop it on the front row straight away. And then it's like the Saturday morning after we've done the practice, I'm just like walking to get a coffee. Yep. And then I'm just standing there, and then this guy comes up. He's like, "Are you Matt McLean?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Jason Haynes, Boost Mobile, how you going? We want to sponsor you." I'm like, yeah. no worries. He's like, "Are you busy?" I'm like, "Just get my coffee, but I can sack it. Like, let's go chat." He's like, "No, I'll stand with you, wait for your coffee. Let's get that, and then I'll go introduce you to the team, whatever." Yeah. So I went and I met Pete, all that sort of stuff. Which later I found out that Pete just heard about me rocking around the pits in what people were calling cowboy boots. Yeah, because people I suppose don't really wear that sort of stuff around the pits. So people was like, "Oh, it's a cowboy boot, whatever." Yeah. So like Pete heard about me wearing my cowboy boots and was like, "Jason, go and get that guy. Like he's fast, and then he's wearing different stuff. Like go and get him." So like that came about straight away. And in my first chat with Jason, he's like, "Man, the biggest thing about this partnership is we're sponsoring you because you're different. You got your long hair, you're wearing your cool stuff, and like, you're fast as well. The biggest thing is that you're you." He's like, "The one condition on this partnership is that you do whatever you want and say whatever you want at all times." He's like, "We don't want you to become like everyone else and be like a molded driver." Like, it's like,
that is the best thing you want to hear from a sponsor.
It was the best thing to hear from a sponsor, but the best advice I've ever got.
Yes,
It was so good. Like, it really, I would say, shaped the way that I went about my career. Like, I probably would have done just like what a lot of drivers do. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's plenty of personalities going around in supercars, but then there's also plenty of non-personalities as well. So that was a really good bit of advice, and just a good little story, I suppose, on how I got going with Boost. But it's a brand that I'm really passionate about. We're pretty aligned with, I guess, how we treat our campaigns and like content and stuff like that. Like, we just sort of like.
Have you done any ads for Boost or anything? Like because they're obviously out there brand themselves. Like, have you done any like rock ads or type of things like that, or any?
Not really rock ads, but like I did. So I've done like a couple photo shoots for them, and like I'd always create like for all of my sponsors, they'd get like a set amount of content every day at an event. So I employ one of my friends who I basically trained to service me at race events. Mm-hmm. He'd come along with me and he'd do all my content sort of stuff. Yep. He can just film me doing all my videos and make individual ones for each of my sponsors. And he'd do like, a bit of like motion graphics, put it over the top at the end. So then each of the videos tailored to whether it's your logo being featured on the car, as well as a bit of like graphics at the end. Anyway, so it's the best thing that like we've done with Boost is just create a lot of content. So the first thing we did was the photo shoots, and then they use that just for a little bit of ads and stuff. And then after that, it's just all the content that we create for them.
What's your take on Pete trying to like start a V8 supercar team? Because potentially, if he was allowed in, because Andretti's struggling in Formula One, right?
Yeah.
If he was allowed in the door, that could open the door for you. I don't know. There's a heap of rostered driver that he wants. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's kind of actually, in a way, stopping the system of development. Do you know what I mean? Like you said before with the Super 2 guys, Zach Best and other guys, they're just out of a drive technically. Do you know what I mean? If he had a team and Charter had a team, there'd be 2 more or technically 4 more spots if they allowed that many wrecks to race. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, I guess the biggest thing, like, there's a lot of things that go into it, but it affects every team financially
Yep.
when an extra car gets ran. So
Okay.
especially if there's going to be a team every round. You got to think like now the TV time's spread up between one extra car, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
all of your exposure and stuff, that goes down amongst like any other back end things that go on with supercars.
Yep.
There's a lot of like downfalls for a team amongst, also having another competitor. Like Peter Adderton, someone that when he does something, he does it at full capacity and he'll always do everything perfectly well. And, if he did a team, and he had someone like Stanaway driving for him or something like that, they're going to do a damn good job. And yes, there's going to be a lot of teams that aren't going to be in front of them.
Yep.
And, Boost do such a good job in marketing as well. So there's a lot of downfalls for being teams, I think.
Yeah. Are you for or
respect.
against it though?
I'm for it, man. I want to race.
Yeah.
Like, I want people to race. I want everyone to have as much opportunity as possible. Like, let's have 40 cars, like whatever. I love that kind of
It'll
stuff.
make a lot more. I don't know. It's one of those hard things, like you say. You're gonna lose some of the airtime for some people, but at the same time, the more cars, then maybe it could be the more like fans you get, which means more people there, more tickets, more watch time. All that increases, so that could counteract it. I don't know, but you just start to see, like we see in NASCAR, they've got so many personalities, so many cars out there. Yet, they are generating in a way. I don't know. America has a way of airing sports and media.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about, that Australia seems to just not be on that level yet.
Seems diluted, in my opinion. Like you watch the NASCAR and the IndyCar, the way that they do it all, and they've even got their own charter system, right? And especially in NASCAR, where they're obviously down to, I think, 36 cars, but back in the day, there were 43. I still reckon that supercars could, as you said, have more cars on the grid. Cameron Hill came on, for example, and said, the Gen 3 thing, exactly what you touched on. If so be it, in 2 years, there's enough Gen 3 cars out there, you just move the Super 2 cars along to all Super 3, and you just have Super 2 and supercars all racing at the 1,000. Do you know what I mean? Because you could create more exciting racing. The back markers create some more hard racing to pass them at the back. You want that old school mentality, which is what
That's
Pete
what it
loves.
used to be, man. That's how it was. Like Bathurst used to run around with more than 40 cars,
Yeah. Was there anyone that you idolised in supercars when you were younger, like when you watched it on TV?
Whoever was winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked the way Win Cup operated.
Yeah, okay.
It's just very smart about the way he does it.